In this section of Unit 4, we're going to look at Herod the Great. Best known, or most ignominiously known, for his killing of the children in Bethlehem following the birth of Jesus. Herod was initially under his father, who was appointed as a regional governor by the Romans under the first triumvirate, that Antipater, his father, appointed Herod to be the governor over the Galilee section of his province. And Herod worked his way into the good side of Rome by dealing with Jewish rebels who would regularly attack caravans along the routes between the Sea of Galilee and the coastal ports at Acco and other locations for which the trade of the Roman Empire. Again, remembering that the phrase we describe Rome in terms of the Pax Romana, the peace of Rome, was all about keeping peace such that the trade routes would be open and the continued flow of economic resources for the kingdom would go unabated. And so we have Herod getting in good with Rome and establishing himself as an able ruler on behalf of Rome up in Galilee. Well, after the death of his father, and there comes along a Persian impact, we call them the Parthians, or we call the Neo-Persian group, would eventually conquer Jerusalem, and only to be eventually, as a result of Herod's work, after Herod had fled to Rome, he comes back with the legions of the Roman army and drives out the Parthians and fully establishes himself over the kingdom around 37 BC. After solidifying full control, dealing with any opposition, which Herod was most able at dealing with, he was, in many ways, a megalomaniac, but also a paranoid individual. Fearing any opposition, he would simply eliminate, and including people who were of his own family. His wife, Mary Amne, his Jewish wife, he eventually would execute along with his mother-in-law, and even cousins, nephews, and even in the famous statement of Mark Antony, who again appreciated Herod's political ability, coined the phrase, and it's a pun on two Greek words, that one would rather be Herod's hus, which means pig, because he kept pretty much the Jewish dietary laws, rather be his hus than his huios, which huios in Greek is son. So he'd rather be his pig than his son, Mark Antony would say. But Herod was very astute in terms of financial developments. He invested in a variety of copper mines, silver mines in different places in Anatolia, in Cyprus and southern Israel and the Sinai region. He played the middleman in the variety of spice trade, so forth, but brought additional wealth to his kingdom as an able political and economic leader. And then with the rising financial capability, he began building projects. And Herod's exposure to the Romans in Rhodes, on the island of Rhodes, and then also in Rome itself, where he had been to be appointed as the governor of this region by the Roman Senate, Herod then sought to imitate in the land that he ruled over the architecture and the grandeur of Rome. Again, the architecture and grandeur of Rome very much represented the empire state of mind for the Roman Empire. And so Herod began building projects somewhere in the mid-20s to late 20s BC, and included more than 20 major projects in the land that he ruled over, such as, of course, the famous Jerusalem Temple Mount construction, as he approximately doubled the size of the Temple Mount, making it the largest single edifice dedicated to a single deity in the entire Roman Empire. In terms of, for example, the square yards, that the Temple Mount in Jerusalem is larger than the entire Acropolis in Athens. So it was a huge complex, started under Herod, and as we see in the Gospels, was still under construction later after Herod had passed on, when the succession of Herods, such as Herod Antipas and Herod Agrippa, would rule later on in the time of Jesus and following. So the building projects in Jerusalem, Masada, such places as Caesarea on the coast. He needed a vital port. Joppa was the only functional port really at that time Herod began to rule. And so with Roman engineering capability, they built a magnificent seaport at Caesarea with a breakwater extending more than 600 yards out into the Mediterranean so that it could house more than 20 Roman cargo ships in this extensive trade going on, again, by which the Herodian Empire or kingdom would become very wealthy. So from Caesarea Philippi in the north to Masada in the south, at Beersheba, he built a monument to the biblical patriarchs in Hebron, and so numerous projects, and including across the Dead Sea from Masada you have Machaerus, which is of course the place where John the Baptist was taken and eventually beheaded. So Herod, financial, political, but most infamously known for his killing of the children after the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem.